Hey guys, TRScientist here, and today I'm back with r/IDontWorkHereLady. But today I've only got two stories. They're both considered to be extra large, but knowing the subreddit, they're not going to be that big. They're like good length though. Not one, but two. Wild Karen's double teaming me. Just discovered this subreddit, and my friends told me I should post the story here. This story takes place a few ago at a well-known store, but I'll just say they are rivals with Walmart. So, for a little context, I went out of town to help my grandmother who wasn't doing too well health-wise. So she asked me to run to the store to grab a few things for her. When I got to the store, I started shopping like any other customer. To avoid being bothered while I'm in the store, I always wear these big over-the-ear headphones, like what I've got, that clearly say, "I'm not gonna hear anything you say." Well, I continue shopping and I pause my music to listen to an audio message in my group chat when all of a sudden I hear someone say, "Excuse me." I ignored it because I didn't think it had anything to do with me, but then I hear, "Excuse me," followed by fingers snapping. But even louder, and the voice sounded like nails on a chalkboard. Next thing I know, I see this old bat of a Karen rush in front of me and snap her fingers in my face. At this point, I am now visibly annoyed, so I take my headphones off and just stare at this woman. She goes on to say, "Jeez, are you freaking deaf?" And I reply, "No, but clearly I don't want to be bothered." She goes on to say, "Wow, you are rude. Is that any way to speak to a customer?" And I look at her confused. Then it dawns on me that I'm currently wearing a red shirt, which is the uniform of the employees at the store. Once I realized that she thought I was an employee, I immediately attempted to clear it up by saying, "Sorry ma'am, but..." And before I can finish this, Karen begins to lay into me about calling me everything under the sun except my name. At this point, she threatens to get a manager to get me fired. But wouldn't you know it, a manager just happened to be coming down the aisle to check the disturbance. When the manager got there, she began to ask what was going on, and before I knew it, Karen started telling the manager how I verbally assaulted her and was calling her all types of inappropriate names, and finally she finished by saying, "I want this employee fired." Now, under some normal circumstances, you would think that the manager would clear up the confusion about my employment with the company or lack thereof. But boy, oh boy, I could not have been more wrong. The manager then takes the side of Karen and begins to tell me off about how I am not honoring the employee code of conduct. Wow. At this point, I am livid, because not only did I get verbally assaulted by one Karen, I'm now getting my ear chewed off by another Karen, and the manager no less. Now I can usually keep my cool in rough situations, but this one had officially pushed me over the edge. So after the manager finishes telling me what's what, she looks at me and says, "Do you have anything to say for yourself?" I looked at the first Karen and then looked at the second one and asked the manager, "Are you new here?" The manager says, "No, I've been here for 8 years." I then proceeded to ask, "Have I ever interviewed with you?" She then said, "No, but I don't." And before she could finish her sentence, her face turned a bright red as she realized I didn't have a name tag or any other employee equipment. That is when I yelled to both of them, "I don't effing work here." Both the Karen and manager look absolutely mortified. I told them to get out of my way as I made my way to the register. As I get to the register, I get approached by another manager of the store, and at this point I'm thinking to myself, "You've got to be kidding." But to my surprise, the manager explained that she somewhat heard the conversation and did not want me to leave the store without a bad taste in my mouth. So to make up for the nonsense that I had just endured, this manager, who we'll call Maria, comped my entire transaction, which was only about $50. She assured me that she would personally take care of the manager Karen was yelling at me. I don't know what happened to both of them, but I do know that my grandma got what she needed free of charge. Yes. Oh my gosh, it would so suck. It's like, not only one Karen, but you get a Karen that's working at the store. Oh. It's like, I thought managers are supposed to be smart. But no, she just jumps to the conclusion that the Karen is correct. That's real good work ethic there. No, it'd be more, that's a good job of knowing your employees. Not. Speaking of Grandma, never heard Grandma swear before this. Ever since Grandpa died, my older brother and I took turns taking Grandma to the grocery store every week to do our shopping. Grandma cannot drive due to medical reasons, so one of us would take her down and help her with her shopping. During the height of COVID, we would go to her house and help her shop online, and come back the next day to help her carry the bags in from the front porch and put stuff away. Grandma is the sweetest person I know. I once said in front of her that when she asked me about the game I went to on the night before that, Calgary sucks, and she went pale and I got a lecture on how young ladies don't say sucks. So one day we were on our grocery trip when Grandma had to use the restroom. She walked off and I stood by the cart waiting for her. Then a Karen came up to me and said, "Now that the old lady is gone, I need some help." I said, "Oh, sorry. That's my grandma. She just had to step away for a moment. I think you can get help up front." Karen said, "I don't care. You need to help me now. I'm not going all the way up front when you're here right now." Me, "I'm sorry, but I don't work here. I'm sure there's someone up front who can help you." Karen started to respond when Grandma came back and said, "I'm done. Let's go now." We started walking off, which Karen really didn't like and said, "Get back here and help me now." Grandma stopped and looked at Karen saying, "What's going on? This is my granddaughter and we're leaving now." Karen's response was, "It's because I'm Asian race." I honestly forget which one she said. Grandma said, "She doesn't work here. We're leaving now." Karen's response was, "BS. I saw her helping you. She works here." Then Grandma snapped and said, "Listen here, you bleeping bleep. What makes you think she works here? Is it the black leather jacket, the green tank top, or the jean shorts? How stupid can you bleeping be? Find another employee who is wearing that and I'll buy your bleeping groceries. But if you can't, get the bleep out of here and leave us the bleep alone." Karen went quiet. I thought for a moment that I was going to have to break up a fight. I had never heard Grandma use language like that. Just then, an actual employee came into sight and Grandma waved him down and told him that Karen needed help, and then told Karen, "Here's an employee who can help you. Now leave us the bleep alone." I hope she flipped her off. It wasn't good enough for Karen, who had to get the last word in. No, I want her to do her job and help me now, which I thought was going to set Grandma off again, but we continued walking off and heard the employee say, "Ma'am, she doesn't work here. Now how may I help you?" That was the last we heard before we were out of earshot and never heard about it again. In the car on the way home, Grandma suddenly turned bright red and told me, "What I said was unladylike, and I hope you never use those words or tell anyone I used them." Oh, I couldn't help but burst out laughing, sounding like a very embarrassed Grandma. Where did you learn such language like that? She never told me, but I was proud of her letting it all out. I accidentally whistled then, that's how funny this was. This happened about 5 years ago, so apologies if not entirely accurate, but I hope you get the basics of it. Although English is my first language, it is also my worst subject in school, so I'm sorry for any mistakes I may have made. Also, Grandma is still alive, and, well, I took my shift with her down to the grocery store last Sunday. She still gets mad if I say sucks, but when she starts to lecture me on it, I remind her of this moment, and I've heard her say much worse. Grandma dishing out the butt whoop of a century. Literally just wearing out that Karen. I hope that Grandma flipped her off. That Karen deserves a good old middle finger or two. I'm glad it didn't end up in a fight. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Anyways, This... Actually, I've only been recording for 11 minutes. I might have time for one more story. And Karen, eager to have employee punished, mistakes me for manager. I honestly thought that all these stories were just made up for karma, that people like this didn't exist, because how in God's green earth does a grown-butt person consciously choose to embarrass themselves? It'd been a long week and a long day at work, so I decided to stop at my favourite store with the red bullseye for some decent, moderately prices, cabaret, and some bubble stuff. Your girl likes to be bougie on a budget. I'm sure you all know where the story is going, given the sub we're on. A Karen, though not the typical Karen look. She had long hair and didn't seem like she was even 40 yet. Definitely not old enough for the entitlement dementia that is Karen. As calmly as she could to seem professional, I guess, stormed up to me. She began lamenting how the teen employee would not get the thing for her. They don't have the thing, apparently. And he needed to be disciplined. Cut his pay, cut his hours, fire him. He has zero work ethic. It was starting to hurt my ears. The poor kid wasn't far off, and came up because he realized that I am not employed by Bullseye. I want him fired. I can't do that, ma'am. And if I could, I wouldn't. What do you mean you can't? Aren't you a manager here? No. But you have a name tag that it even says manager on it. Yeah, it says property manager. And the company I work for. So you're still a manager, right? I was fed up here. Ma'am, what does the logo on my tag say? Is there a little bullseye? Am I wearing red or whatever color managers wear here? But you're a manager. You have to help me. You have to punish him. I'm fucking fed up. I'm baffled. I'm befuddled. I just want to get my bubbles, my cabaret, and go get in my giant tub so I can boil myself alive. Why are people like this? I'm beginning to believe all the tales and myths of the terrible Karen. I walk past her carefully, not to brush against her at all, so she can't claim assault. Her breath smells like egg and cigarettes. Once past her, I speed up and grab whatever booze and bubbles are on display so I can get to the checkout. Oh god, she's following me. Maybe if she were 60 or so, she wouldn't have given up. Luckily I made it through the checkout with my 2 things bagged and have my receipt. My social anxiety tells me that people think I'm a thief because I'm running. I'm safe in my car. I don't see her anymore. I drive home. As I'm finally in my tub, relaxing, eyes closed, turning into a human lobster, I see her. When will I escape? I will forever know that Karen is real. She is not a mythological beast. She is an actual living monster. To everyone saying I should have, could have fired the kid, you overestimate my power and you underestimate my anxiety. Anxiety is a beep. Don't ever want to be dealing with that. It's like, you can't just be like, I gotta do this sort of thing, because your brain's like, no, don't do it. And now with that, I'm actually gonna end this episode here. Links will be in the description to the main channel and the second channel for you guys to go check out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so the next video comes out. A ding, a ding. I'm Mad Scientist.